When you fly on Joon-Hung's private plane from Korea to Dayton, Ohio, you have the chance to shower and change clothes on the plane. Who knew? 18 hours went by in a blink of an eye. I know you are wondering, but nothing happened. He was a gentleman. The landing was smooth. The only thing that was jarring was the reality waiting for me in Dayton, Ohio. None of this was planned. So, was he going to stay at my condo? As a single woman, I purchased my own condo, and I was very proud of it. But this man had a plane with about the same square footage as my condo. And if he stayed, how long was he staying? Would he be appalled by my sheet thread count? Is his chef moving in? I didn't even have a closet to accommodate the standby wardrobe that was on his plane. I was humbled, embarrassed, and intimidated. But I had no reason to be embarrassed. I paid $300,000 for my 3-bed, 3-bath in a downtown mid-rise. However, I couldn't deny that his lifestyle was on a whole next level. But he invited himself to my world, and I wasn't going to shy away from showing it to him. But I have been away for 3 years. I would like to put my eyes on the place and have my cleaning serve freshen up before welcoming an overnight guest. But how do I say? Thanks for the ride on your jet. Hope there are rooms at the Motel 8. Well, I never got a chance. He let me know he had his assistant book a furnished penthouse for him to stay in. He had 2 separate town cars waiting. Reality check. I had to get used to the idea of someone that was generous, considerate, and had the means to execute his intentions and apparently do sulfur monoxide at a moment's notice. I know of men that have good intentions, but lacking when it comes to means and resources.
Dasha, I don't want you to worry. I'm not here to crowd you. I invited myself to travel with you on your flight home. I want to make sure you don't regret agreeing to me coming.
No regrets, I said. After that flight, it's going to be hard to go back to domestic flights. And his response without hesitation was, from this point forward, you won't have to. He made it very clear he was into me, but doing it in the most respectful way. Evim, if you're not used to this treatment, sometimes you have to remind yourself to be cool and not to let them see you act surprised. Just being back in Ohio, I knew family, friends, and neighbors want to see me and are anticipating my return. What no one knows yet is that the only person I want to see and spend time with is the one person I just spent the last 24 hours with. The reality is that somehow I was going to have to juggle and even merge 2 worlds at some point. I wanted to delay it for now. My black girl defenses were preparing me for all the people who feel like their opinion of who I want to be with matters.
Go home and relax. I know you have to get adjusted to the time difference. I also have business to tend to preparing to establish my remote headquarters for Monday morning. But before I let you go, I have a couple quick questions. Is a 18-hour transatlantic flight considered a first date?
I knew he was being playful and was hinting at something. I told him, of course, it was not just a first date, but the best date of all times, especially for 2 people who had 3 years to go out on the ground. But instead we had to get on a plane to finally really see each other.
Okay, so what are the rules here about kisses on the first date? And is there a rule of how long before you have to wait to call, or to have a second date?
Like on the flight. His questions keep me laughing. My code name for him is the sexy negotiator. My mind was saying kiss me you fool, but I held my black girl composure. In Korea, I never saw public displays of affection. And after 3 years and an 18-hour flight, this kiss was long overdue. He leaned in. I closed my eyes, and then I felt him kiss my forehead. Talk about leaving a girl wanting for more. And you best believe, it was intense. Who knew? A kiss on a forehead can create shockwaves all the way down to my toes. I'd experienced his Korean cool calm ways in the boardroom, but to see its application outside of the boardroom made it worth the wait. We then went to get in our separate town cars. This was so different than when I said goodbye in his office on my last day. I was sad, but it was only temporary, just until I can see him again. Suddenly, I had to mentally pivot. Home, sweet home. 58 missed messages and 22 were from my mom.
Are you finally home, Dasha? Was your flight delayed? Let me know if you're going to come by, 'cause we'll pull some meat out the freezer and I'll make mac and cheese and do some candy yams. I know you miss real food. Oh, and your auntie and cousins going to drive up from Springfield. What time should I tell them? Everyone can't wait to see you. And guess what? They even mentioned your name at church welcoming you home.
I had to beg her to postpone. Mentally and emotionally, I had a lot to digest. It was enough to make me lose my appetite. Plus, Joon-Hung and his chef fed me very well. My parents are salt of the earth, hearty, Midwest, family first folks. And my parents prayed this trip was enough for me to get traveling out my system. My childhood dream was to work and live on every continent at least once. As my dad would say, I ain't about this Gen XYZ global living and global lifestyle. He would say, you just need to settle down. And by that, he meant marry a local guy and have kids. And be close enough for him to keep an eye on me and all his kids. That was how my dad wanted things. And he got what he wanted most of the time. I can only imagine how he might react when he meets Joon-Hung. Was I going to be bouncing back and forth from Korea with this man? I knew the barrage of questions coming, and I might as well enjoy the quiet before the storm. There's a lot to unpack there, and I'm not talking about unpacking my luggage from my trip. Unpacking the expectations of who I should be with has been a thorn in my side. Dealing with our family history of mistrust of other races. In so many words, I was told it's better to date a black man that treats you okay than a white man that treats you great. None of this was a concern 48 hours ago. I thought I was going to come home and tell folks how no one tried to pick me up in Korea. Instead, a twist of fate. I end up on a millionaire Korean man's plane. Just he and I. He is renting a penthouse and staying in my hometown, waiting for me to call and for us to have a second date. My mind is still blown. At this point, I need to shut my eyes and shut down. Maybe when I open my eyes again, it will have just been a dream. I was deep into a slumber when I was woken by keys jiggling in my door. I scrambled to get up in a groggy state. I panicked immediately. Could it be my ex-boyfriend? I told Jarod to return my keys to my parents. I will call 911 and have him arrested. Whoever it was hiding behind a massive bouquet of flowers. I could not see a face, but I could see a pregnant belly. It was my big little sister Danny. I say big because she was 6 months pregnant. I was happy to see her, and then I thanked her for the flowers.
Wait! I know these aren't from Jarod. He wouldn't have flowers delivered. He'd bring them in person. Hey, this card is written in Korean. My Spidey sister's senses are tingling. What's going on? Did you meet someone in Korea? You got someone in Korea ordering flowers to deliver on your first day back? Nice. I'm impressed.
She had no idea the person that sent these flowers is not in Korea. Don't you start getting in my business already. Instead, let's talk about how you got pregnant. That was my way to cut off a full interrogation. I knew her pregnancy was a topic she didn't want to get into. I switched topics to getting delivery from our favorite pizza spot. While she was ordering, I texted Joon-Hung and thanked him for the flowers. I mentioned to him my sister had come over. He texted back, enjoy your family. I'm just happy to be in the same time zone as you. And family holidays have been Skype calls. I missed my family for sure. We managed to talk for 3 hours, and I didn't mention the single most meaningful event of my trip. But I didn't want to say anything yet because I still wasn't sure if I was just dreaming that it happened. There was only one way to be sure. I ventured out of the house, and eventually, his penthouse suite found its way into my GPS, when he buzzed me in the underground parking display. A welcome message with his name. With a little help from the valet, I came, but not empty-handed. I brought groceries. Not just any groceries, but some from the Korean market. I had went there several times to prepare myself before my trip. He was surprised, impressed, and appreciative all at the same time. It felt good. It's hard to impress someone of his status, or so you would think. It was the fact that it was thoughtful and something to make it feel like home. A piece of soul. I started having him taste some of things I bought. I fed him pieces of Korean fruit like bay fruit, chamogam, halibong, and other fruits he'd find in Korea. What do you think? Are they as good as the ones back home? He in turn fed me and told me stories about each fruit and childhood memories. Or you know it was a frenzy of tasting, talking, and laughing. But all of that led to a major black girl crisis that I had not anticipated. And for the next 2 hours, we were two consenting adults. But after I showered, I caught a glimpse of my head in the mirror. 2 hours of intense sweating. Some of you know what that does to kinky curly hair. I wasn't ashamed of my hair. I just didn't want him to see me when I wasn't styled. His image of me was in the office, and my hair was always snatched and styled. I knew he'd see my full mane someday, but just not this soon. Some may say you need to keep it real, but seriously, am I supposed to pull out my satin bonnet or a stocking cap or a do-rag? It was too soon for all of the above. He and I didn't use the same hair care products. I had to sneak, find my phone, order my go-to hair care products, and get them delivered. Hoping jet lag would keep him in a deep sleep until I could get my hair under control. I went in the bathroom, locked the door, and went to work on the out-of-control mass on top of my head. He knocked on the door and asked, "Are you okay?" "Yes." "Do you need anything?" "Nope." "Let me know if you do." "Sure." I fought my kinky curls into submission and emerged an hour and 45 minutes later. When he saw my new look, he said, "Hey, I like your hair. But do you usually change it in the middle of the night?" "Just know I like everything about your hair. I like it when it's up. I like when it's pulled back. I like it when it's big. If you like it, I love it. Maybe next time I can help. I really want to be hands-on in every way." Next thing I know, we were messing it up all over again.
I am in love with you. I don't want to be afraid to be in love with you. Being afraid is why this almost did not happen.
Be fearless when it comes to love, and a man that can say it out loud. I 100% believed he was in love with me, not just because he said it, but because his actions matched what we were saying. I read about this. As universal as love may seem, it is approached differently by different cultures. If love was on a spectrum, the Korean culture couples say, "I love you" very early on when meeting someone. They would be at 10. Americans in general are divorce-prone. They're a 4 or a 5. And the African Americans between it would be a 1 on the spectrum. For African Americans, love is a luxury item and most only can afford the knockoff version. Survival wand, self-preservation is the priority. I loved him. I already knew that I was in love with him in the first 48 hours, probably before he first said it. And I probably loved him more than he loved me. But black women, real talk. I was taught you don't tell a boy man how you really feel. And why? Because they'll use it against you. That's when a boy man starts taking you for granted, messing with your head, and messing with your heart. My mom called. I could put her off once, but not twice. She wasn't pushy, she just used your typical passive-aggressive mom guilt trip voice. "Hey Dasha, how you doing, baby girl? Are you caught up on your sleep? We going to get to see you this weekend?" "It is Memorial Day weekend." "Definitely, Mom." "Okay, great. I'm going to start calling the cousins." I said, "Sounds good, Mom." "But Mom," I said in a scolding tone. "Family only." She said, "Sure, Dasha." I said, "Mom, I mean it." "No, Jared. If there were arranged marriages in America, my parents would have paid my dowry to marry Jared when we were in high school. He was very close with my brother, and our mothers were best friends." I was about to tell her that I'm bringing someone to the picnic, but I choked. "I'll make sure Jared isn't invited," she said. "I will." Well, you will see soon enough how that turned out. It was nice having a personal gym right off the penthouse master bedroom. Workouts were an aphrodisiac we had in common. Sometimes we ended our workouts early, and we did what we'll call alternate cardio. We were working out when I told him, "Joon-Hung, my mom wants to have a cookout for Memorial Day, and I want you to come." I expected him to say the Korean words for, "It's too soon to meet your family." But without hesitation, he responded, "Okay, what should I bring? Should I bring the potato salad?" He had jokes. After I stopped laugh, I told him, "There is one thing I need you to do to fit in." It felt awkward asking him, but I said, "We cannot show up in a limo." It turned out not to be a problem. A couple of phone calls couldn't fix. He rented a custom Genesis and had already had a U.S. driver's license. I only saw him chauffeured around, so this came as a surprise. He had a lot of access to things and resources, but he was thoughtful about how he used them. His ego wasn't attached to how material things. Making connections with people was more important to him, and that's why he made an impression with my family that was at the picnic. I could tell my family liked him by how they piled his plate with potato salad and collards. He was at ease, and I think that made everyone else at ease. And he engaged and was well-versed on topics, whether he was talking with the kids, my grandmother, my dad, or my brother. I'd get a wink or a nod from across the yard when we hoped no one was looking. We assumed everyone believed we were colleagues that happened to be on the same flight. Joon-Hung met all of the aunts, cousins, grandparents, and not one of them said any inappropriate. I was pleasantly surprised. His smile never faded. He played with the kids for a while, and then my dad and brother started teaching him one game after another. Horseshoes, cornhole, darts, checkers, and spades. Joon-Hung was being the attentive pupil. All was well. For now, watching Joon-Hung was like watching a masterclass in staying calm when things are chaotic. I had never mentioned the name Jared, but he picked up on the tension in the air. It was like a scene from the movie Guess, Who's Coming to Dinner? Everyone froze in mid-sentence. Joon-Hung didn't need a memo to know. This wasn't just one of my cousins. This was the ex-boyfriend that wasn't on board with the ex status. And to be clear, the D he wore around his neck stood for Dasha. Bullet dodged. I barely saw Joon-Hung blink his Korean eyes. If he did, he was very cool and smooth about it. Everyone went about their business, now that they saw there wasn't going to be any drama at that moment. My brother tried to smooth things over. Hey Darnell. You know everyone else? But this is Joon-Hung, Dasha's colleague. He's from Korea, just visiting. She invited him so he would be alone for Memorial Day. Nobody should be alone on Memorial Day, right, Dasha? My brother said. Basically setting me up and putting the ball in my court. But he actually gave me some time to figure out my next move. I made a beeline for Jared. No one expected what I did next. I said, Jared, hey, come with me to the kitchen. Jared was used to having anyone he wanted, and the problem is, he was never satisfied with just one woman. That was why I knew I was done with him when I left for Korea. My time in Korea was to heal and get over him. I didn't know what I was going to say to him in the kitchen, but he got a jump on me and started talking.
Dasha, you looking good, girl. You brought a souvenir back from Korea, I see. Do you think I'm worried about him? 'Cause I'm not. Dayton is a long way from Korea. Eventually, he has to go home. Just like you eventually came home. You are just a passing fascination to him. It's just a matter of time. But as far as you and I, we have a shared history. We were raised 10 doors from each other, and we have a secret we share. We have a bond that is stronger than you can ever have with him. Remember in high school when we ran track in Oakview and we saw those pretty houses? We said one day we wanted to raise our babies in one of those houses? Well, I closed on one 4 weeks ago when your mom told me you were coming home. The plan hasn't changed, and I haven't given up on the plan.
Jared, you know how we ended this and why we ended things. You don't get to ignore and forget that. While the men huddle outside and the women huddle in the kitchen. Aunt Jean was the first to comment. He's easy on the eyes. Enjoy him while you can. But you do know his Korean mama is not going to let him marry a black girl. Next, I was attacked with dumb questions like, how rich was he? Someone asked, was he allowed to have multiple wives? Someone asked, was he here legally? This was somehow more painful than talking to Jared. I think it was time to make our exit. The picnic wrapped up, and Joon-Hung helped clean up like everyone else. He just genuinely fit in. And then it was time to take our paper plates with tin foil and say our goodbyes. He hugged the ladies. Did the black man combination handshake and shoulder bump with the men? And we got in the car and I was bracing for an awkward conversation. Joon-Hung said, so tell me, are you impressed with me? I attended my first American backyard family barbecue, and I'm leaving with not one spot on my shirt. He always led with humor. That was what made him so charming. He observes and adapts. He was a quick learner. He was a good person first, and a millionaire second. He genuinely appreciated my people and my culture. Wow, I thought I was worried about an awkward ride home for nothing. He isn't even going to bring up Jared. That was right before he said,
So that was Jared. Let me see if I can piece together the story. You all had been a couple since high school. He looks like he played football, and you both ran track. Your families are still close, but you all broke up before you came to Korea? Or while you were there? That's the part I'm not clear on.
I felt a knot in my stomach.
Dasha, I didn't think, for a moment, that you didn't have a life here before you came to Korea. I know you turn heads everywhere you go, regardless what country or continent. I know you have options. I just want to make sure I'm the option that you want, in spite of who you were with in the past. And you aren't having second thoughts.
With that, I was able to exhale. I told him Jared was someone in my past, and that's all. Joon-Hung was a man who for the most part had no competition. He was winning in life, and yet he let me know he saw me as the one that had options. Little did he know, I was grading on the curve, and the curve was in his favor, but I still didn't let him know. He used his time here to open a headquarters in the USA a year early than he planned. It made sense also, after that last big deal we did in Korea. We finding a balance between work and play. My reputation had blown up thanks to working with Joon-Hung, which given me enormous exposure. I had 40 employees, but impressive for a modest bootstrap startup. Nothing compared to his 1,100 employees. By day we put our suits on, and by night, we frolicked through the city. And yes, I said frolicked. We went to plays, jazz clubs, concerts, movies, parks, museums, zoos, aquariums, farmers markets, and flea markets. We went to elegant restaurants, and we went to dives. It's like I was a tourist in my own city. For months went by fast. And all thought he was center stage. But I kept hearing voices in the background. I hear my dad say you got to college degrees just to become a Korean man's concubine. My sister asks, will you have to move to Korea? I need you here to help me raise my baby. Don't leave me. I hear my hairdresser sing, girl, you hit the jackpot. I kept saying. I wasn't after his money. I hear my grandma say, remember how those people follow us around their stores and assume we stealing? I see my mom's watery eyes saying, be careful. There were a lot of negative opinions, taking up space in my head. The negativity began to penetrate my, it's my life not yours, black girl protective shield. But the truth was, Joon-Hung and I were good together. A typical week for us was, he worked from the penthouse, I worked from my condo. We would meet after work. We make dinner, or grab dinner. And then we practiced restraint, and I only slept over on the weekends. But I was at the penthouse enough that I had my own cabinet with my hair care products in the master bathroom. We cleared the first 90 days with no drama. But my inner fear kept saying he can get on his plane and go home at any moment. I was feeling black girl guilt. I couldn't talk to the naysayers about how happy I was. I could not tell them that Joon-Hung liked helping with my comb out on hair wash day. For him, this was novel and a new experience. And he doesn't mind watching Atlanta Housewife while doing it. But we also watched Korean shows, and that helped me expand my Korean vocabulary. Little did I know that drama was around the corner. I was flipping through Cream Station. It got real uneasy. Especially when I found a reality television show that was the Korean realty show. It was called Korean Housewives of the Rich and Famous. Then I saw the name Sok Min-jin. I instantly made the connection. This was Jared's ex-wife. She was stunning. His wife was so stunning that I suddenly felt underdressed, emotionally, mentally, and physically. I suddenly got a glimpse of the kind of beauty people in his league were accustomed to. Everything my aunts, my mom, my brother, my dad, my hairdresser, and even Jared warned me about flooded my brain. I was in sensory overload. She's stunning, but why would I expect anything less? I tried to say something, but my voice was shaking. I got up abruptly and mumbled something about getting something out of my car. I wanted to get someplace that I could hyperventilate, verbally explode, and unleash a waterfall of tears. I just started my car and drove away. No phone call. No text. I just left. And just like that, it was over. I had to end it. That's what I told myself. I could not take myself through this mental roller coaster. If I keep going down this path, this could break me. Not just hurt me. Jared hurt me, but this was different. This is when you dare to dream too big, and you get put back in your place, and you have to accept you are out of your league. Black girls, stay in your lane. It's a harsh reality that only people in your own community that look like you can truly understand. The color of my skin dictated that I belonged with a Jared, not someone named Joon-Hung. I was driving around, I don't know for how long. I heard my phone ringing and buzzing. I turned the volume off. My self-doubt was maxed out. I was a black girl in full distress. Where do I go from here? Was the question I was asking myself. I could turn south and I would end up at my parents' house and my childhood home. I could turn west and be at my condo I purchased on my own. I could even turn north, to go to Oakview, to the house Jared purchased and find a way to be content. But none of those options felt like the right answer. I was sitting at the light frozen until someone honked. The car lunged forward as I hit the gas after I was startled by the honking. The sudden motion of the car knocked my phone to the floor. It lit up and there was one text that radiated up from my floorboard on the passenger side. It was like almost a beacon there to guide me. It was a text and all it said was, "Come home." It was from I was back at the penthouse. Driving to the underground parking? The sophisticated security recognizes license plates. As I passed through, there was an overhead display. Its display was different. Joon-Hung had pulled some strings. It said, "Welcome home, Dasha Jarrett." For the last 9 months, the display said, "Welcome guest of Seoul residence." This is what you would call a grand gesture. And I understood his intentions. And the rest of that night, there were not a lot of words exchanged. But that night, we became even more connected. Some people might say it was make-up sex. But how can it be that if the only fight is your inner fight for self-worth? And what I can't do is let my inner voices overshadow all of his. His gestures and actions that back up what he says are his intentions. I had to finally confess to myself and to him. What had me stressed was never about his ex-wife or even the color of my skin. It's whether I believe in me, myself and I. Do I believe I deserve being happy with whoever makes me happy? If I don't believe it myself, there is no way to shut down the naysayers. I have to believe that I can stand in a room full of beautiful Korean, white or black women and Joon-Hung would still pick me because we have a connection. I am his person and he is my person. When I got to the penthouse, he put his arms around me and I realized I was home. And it's not that I was claiming the penthouse as my home, it was his arms. When I was in his arms, I was home. I told him, "Yes, I got a little intimidated when I saw your ex-wife. You've shown me every chance you get, how much you are willing to do to be with me. I have no reason to hesitate. What I'm really intimidated by, how fast and how hard I've fallen in love with you. I don't think you know how big of a deal this." He laughed at me, and at first I was getting offended because I was feeling super vulnerable. But he said, "You do know I said I love you 3 days after we landed here? So I know about falling fast, and I know about feeling vulnerable." I was started to get worried. "Okay. So I want you to hear me because I'm ready to say what I've been feeling the whole time, even when you first said it. I felt this way even then. So Joon-Hung, Dasha Wilkins, I'm in love with you."
I love you too, Dasha Wilkins. I'm going to show you just how much I love you if you just let me. I'm glad you didn't stay out too long because I have a surprise for you. We are flying out in the morning. So let's get some sleep.
Wait. What? I know that's what I was thinking too. I just had an emotional meltdown, confessed my love, and I'm going to be on a plane at sunrise. I don't even have time for a hair appointment or nothing. Wait until the next episode and find out where we end up. Who knows? We could be headed back to Korea. I guess I have to trust him. What does Joon-Hung have up his sleeve? Stay tuned.
I saw you smiling across the room. The world got quiet, just me and you. Like a movie scene, like a perfect rhyme. I knew right then it was our time, and I never felt this way before. Your laugh, your light, I need it more. Love, 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 that's all I feel. Every beat of my heart, it's real. You and me, we rise above. All we need is love, love, love. Walking through this life, hand in hand, we don't need to understand. Every moment, night and day, you're the reason I smile that way. You're my melody, my sweetest song. With you is where I belong. Love, 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 that's all I feel. Every beat of my heart, it's real. You and me, we rise above. All we need is love, love, love. Through the highs and the lows, I'll stay. Forever yours, come what may. Love, 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 it's you and me. Like the waves belong to the sea.